Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for joining us once again for another episode of the I'll Try That podcast. Joining me this week are Mr. Richard Bradwell.
How are we doing? Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year. And Joe, a festive message from you as well, please.
Happy Merry Xmas.
Hey!
Sorry, I got caught rabbit in the headlights right now. I don't want to say exactly what Drabber said, but that pretty much summed it up.
Yeah. You got like specific instructions from me that you weren't really ready for, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
I also got very, very caught up on festive.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah, and that's probably not the word you wanted.
I can give you a general message: goodwill to all people in 2024. Peace among everyone.
And lots of beer, and lots of beer to you.
And that too. Exactly.
I like that.
Good. That's only taken 1 minute and 10 seconds. Thanks for joining us again, everyone. We returned to a kind of similar theme as we were doing a bit at the end of last year, in that we got together and exchanged a load of beers that we all either wanted to try or wanted each other to try, to give them a go, have a taste, see what we think. We've got a few different kind of running themes within that as well. I set for myself, I fancied having a go at getting around a few different countries and trying what was the number one beer in a selection of countries. So this week, our sort of tasting travels take us to Argentina, and the number one beer there, which is Quilmes. Quilmes? I think it might be Quilmes, but I'm going to say Quilmes. What are you guys saying?
Quilmes?
Quilmes?
Quilmes, yeah.
Quilmes.
I would say Quilmes. Quilmes.
I was going to say, if anybody from Argentina is listening, they can correct us. We'd be more than happy to know how it's pronounced. Because we might just be butchering it.
Yeah, Quilmes. You can spend the next 5 to 10 minutes thinking about how you guys want to pronounce that, while I pass over to Drabbers and we'll do a hot topic, shall we?
Yes, I have a hot topic. And I suppose it relates quite nicely because people at the start of the year might be wanting, like a different change of scenery, a different pace. They might have come out of 2023. And with some New Year's, have you guys got any New Year's resolutions?
I don't buy into that, I'm afraid, my man.
No?
Why do you need one day of the year to hold you to doing something that you should already be doing or should do to improve yourself?
Well,
I've taken the different angle of also I'm going to just say, you know what? No, you're doing all right. Keep going. Keep doing the good stuff well. And if you have time,
See, I like that, but like something you should always be doing. But I'm going to master the yo-yo this year. So are you saying I should have always been mastering the yo-yo?
I'm saying why you needed the start of a new year to decide to do something about your yo-yo passion. I don't know. I think it's never too late. It's
never too late.
It's a good time to get involved.
New year, new me.
New year, yo me.
It's like saying basically you're only ever romantic on one day of the year in February.
If you're lucky, I am. Good.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a new thing, and you're looking at new things. Maybe you're looking at different perspectives.
We're getting further and further away from
it. But I like this because people might be thinking about a new job or changing their career or something like that to start the year, sort of thing. So there's been a new job advertised over in Ireland that had 2,500 applicants apply for a single position, sort of thing. And I could possibly imagine maybe 2,490 probably didn't quite fit the bill for the job role, mainly because it is a beer. It's basically a beer taster for a brewery in Northern Ireland.
Okay, a brewery we know, big famous.
It's called.
Who are they?
It's called the Walled City Brewery in Derry.
Okay.
Which I've never heard of.
New to me, I've got to say, yeah.
Yeah, me either.
Which I quite like because the offer is not only that you get to taste all of their beer to make sure it's up to standard, but you also get free beer, chips, and a taxi home. Every day. Which, well, if you're testing beer all day.
So what I love is looking at the Walled City Brewery. They're actually a gastro pub based in Derry, Londonderry, Northern Ireland. So there you go. So it's based in a little part of Londonderry.
As we just mentioned, or Drab has just mentioned, that it was massively oversubscribed for this particular post. My suspicion is, I'm not saying that Joe and I would have gotten the job, Drabbers, but I have a funny feeling that you would have been uniquely positioned to not get the job.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like I should have done a bit of prep research for this as well. But I understand that breweries don't want people to be their beer tasters if they have a particular penchant for spicy foods.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's a good idea.
Apparently, if you go hard on the spicy foods, join chili eating contests.
Yeah, I get
sort
that
of thing. Apparently, like that, not writes off, but impedes the abilities of your taste buds, and
I can see that.
and they will say, no, if you eat loads of hot foods, we can't have you. We need people with virgin tongues. That's not
Talking
the right word.
Talking virgin tongues. not a sentence I hear very often. But thinking of why this job is fantastic, I'd like to hear your guys' elevator pitches for why you think you should be the beer taster of this walled garden.
Okay.
Walled City Brewery. So, and elevator pitch. I'm thinking a couple of sentences. Give us a couple of reasons as to why you think you'd be the perfect beer taster position. This is like the job interview. And Barbara and I will decide, and then Barbara will give it a go, and you. Anyway.
Okay.
You can be the judge. You can be the judge. I'd be a bit unfair if I get to decide whether Drabbers gets it or not. So Drabbers has got to go first.
Okay. Well, as we know, I have personally brewed my own beer, so I have experience from the ground up of the whole brewing process and kind of what's expected. And I've also experimented with different kinds of beer, so I kind of know what's going in there. And I also don't think Timothy Taylor's is God's gift to beer, because we know it's trash. So we all know I have a great taste, and my taste buds are just there, and I just know different beers better than Matt.
Okay, so you're just solely pitching yourself against
Yes,
Matt.
that's it. Yeah.
Let me say what I said.
I kind of in this interview process, almost like Matt's not actually going for it, and you're just really like this Matt guy. I'm better than him
at beer.
Well, good news, Drabbers. Matt was the only person who also went for the job, and he didn't mention why he'd be better than you, so you can have it in that case.
So Matt, with that, now that you've actually heard what the other interviewer has to say about his interviewee has to say about his, why do you think you'd be right for this job?
Well, may I start first, Joe, with just addressing a couple of points. I'm not going to be drawn into this is my politician pitch. Actually, I'm not going to be drawn into aggressively slandering my opposite number. I think he's. Though we may disagree on a few issues, I still think he's a good man, despite what is written on that toilet wall.
So just call for a great time.
Since a young age, I've been very passionate about beer and delivering, and I've provided a lot of synergies moving forward in my current role, both within Silo and as part of a team. So I certainly think within the role I'd be able to identify, some green shoots and some low-hanging fruit that would be able to, really deliver on excelling performances going forward. Thank you.
Love it. I feel like if this was a corporate brewery, you'd definitely have the job because you hit all the buzzwords that you need to hit within an interview. That all interviewers have written down to say, if these says these things, tick them off.
Yeah.
Like absolutely, tick.
I've just got a man in an eggshell tie, very, very excited.
Yeah, and it's a bit like your beer taste, bland. But
I'm not going to rise to that.
Well, we'll let the listeners decide who they'd give the job to.
Maybe it's Mr. Stupid, horrible, smelly beer drinker, not good poo. That's not going to make any episode, is it?
It might even. It's an insight behind the scenes, for sure.
It depends who's editing.
Right, good. So there's, if you are the person who gets the job in Londonderry, Walled City Brewing, Let us know what your secret was, because Travers and I apparently need to brush up on our interview skills.
Yeah, understandable.
Any other key takeaways? I'm stuck in that mode now. From the from the hot topic, is there? Well, I was kind of curious about that remuneration package. Obviously, the chips and the free ride, but I'm assuming it's a paid position.
Yeah,
or is it not? Is it just you can have some beer?
No, it's paid, which I quite like the sound of. Like, it'd be cool. You just turn up to a pub and test beer all day. Like, what more could you want, really?
I'm in.
Very good.
I'm in.
Although it's actually quite a lot of pressure, because if the brewery stops selling as much beer after you get employed, then maybe you're directing the brewery in the wrong direction for your taste buds. So let's say, for example, Barber got the job, and he was like, you know what, this beer needs to be more Timothy Taylor-esque and more landlord-esque, and then he'd absolutely turn grabbers off from these beers. So it's a lot of responsibility to weigh on those shoulders.
Well, I think that would actually just bring up the standard of the pub, to be honest.
Well, just a bunch of old men in overcoats drinking warm beer.
And some slightly less old men in overcoats drinking warm beer. All the Timothy Taylor's fans are listening to this and like, he's a right helmet, isn't he?
Well, all two of them.
All the normal people, I mean.
It's just your dad and your brother.
Have we done that?
Which one?
I don't think I shouldn't have to remind you about the super stacked dudes who are working for Timothy Taylor.
That's the fair point. They are jacked.
They would want to have a word.
I'm waiting for them to come knock my door down.
Right. Yeah, no, you're thinking they're going to do something else. Right, before we just descend into juvenile Timothy Taylor footballification, should we talk about, and please, I'm going to need educating because I really don't know a lot about Quilmes. And actually, the brewery, should we have a go at butchering this pronunciation as well?
Yes, please.
Cervecería y Maltería Quilmes. In Argentina.
Yeah, that's the
brilliant.
one.
I'll take that. That's a great pronunciation.
So age, I saw 1890 somewhere, I think.
I saw 1888 was when the brewery was founded.
1888, I've got when the brewery was founded.
Well, I've got no comeback for that. I've got a picture of. Well, to be honest, I don't know what there is a picture of a building with 1890 here, so maybe they just put that picture up there to make me look silly.
No, wait there.
I can clarify this, Rich. Drabas, I should say, or Barber. Get one of your names right. That basically it was founded in 1888 by German immigrant Otto Bemberg in the town of Quilmes in Buenos Aires province.
Okay.
But their first beer didn't start brewing officially and start getting produced until 1890, which is the I think the precursor to Quilmes, because Quilmes doesn't say when it was first brewed, but it is the number one beer in Argentina. This is hands down the biggest beer sold in Argentina.
To me, it tasted like it's got a bit of German heritage.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Especially with that being a Pilsner lager as well. And you get that from the taste as well. It's quite clean, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, I jumped back and forth from the history to the beer itself then, but I think was Travis, were you going to say something?
Well, yeah, I was going to comment that what Joe saying, it is quite a clean and it's quite a crisp beer. Once again, Argentina, a hot country, you can definitely see yourself swigging some of these nice and easily. You can have 4 or 5 sort of thing. I reckon in probably quite a quick time, because you probably sweat it, or we would be sweating a lot in Argentina if we were there.
But it's quite south of South America, isn't it? It's like down the bottom part of it. So are there other beers within the Quilmes range? Is it just this Pilsner lager, or do they have other beers as well?
Sort of threw me out a little bit, because actually when I was looking at I was having a look at them in their own website, they're a little bit like that. Oh, I can't remember which brewery it was the other day, where it's almost like it's not, the website's not kind of designed for the consumers. It's almost like for investors and tells them about.
Oh, I see, like the corporate side of it.
Yeah, exactly. But they'd also stacked up a few others that I was just trying to clarify who the wider owner brewery is, the umbrella brewery, because they've got, if you go and look on there, their brands are Stella, Corona, Budweiser, Brahma, Patagonia and Andes, who actually I'm not as familiar with, but they're obviously South American.
So I've found out they've owned by Grupo Bemberg was the initial founding, and it says it's followed by shifts in ownership. So it sounds like it's owned by a few people, but the Grupo Bemberg seems to be the one they're owned by.
Guess who's owned them since April 2006?
AbInbev.
Yeah.
It is indeed AbInbev. So they've actually been a part of the brewery since 2002, but it was formalised in April 2006. So they own the majority stake of it, and it's some actually really interesting highlights of it. So it's kind of, I don't know actually what that stat is, but basically they have across Argentina, they're the number one market position, and they employ 5,301 people.
Okay.
So proper size then.
So they have, which is huge actually, isn't it? That's a lot of people. And they have 5 breweries and 6 soft drinks plants, a hop farm and a barley farm, as well as a microbrewery in Patagonia. And they have 9 distribution centres and 9 sales offices.
Oh, that's
so
good.
There you go. That's a lot of detail about the setup of this company in Argentina.
Yeah. I was also going to say, I found out what else they brew, not just they do a Quilmes Bock, they do a Quilmes Stout and a Quilmes Red Lager.
Oh, I've seen that. And they've also got one that's the Quilmes Night. I wonder what that is. What's that one about? And they've got the Quilmes 1890, which must be a homage to the first time this beer was brewed.
A homage?
It probably was. 1890. So, yeah.
2 side notes.
Interesting.
Just about Argentina and geography. Matter close to my heart, as we all know. We mentioned Argentina being quite hot. Not always.
No.
Not
quite over all of it,
the
because
equator,
it's like,
isn't it?
it is. And isn't it like Patagonia in particular? Also, I'm fairly sure down there is almost the jumping off point for people going to Antarctica. Or actually, that might be bits of Chile, but I think it's Argentina. And you mentioned Patagonia. Not just a clothes label, as I've recently discovered as well. Did you know there are people in Patagonia who speak Welsh?
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Why?
There are people in Patagonia who
How?
speak Welsh. I think it's because there's a little tiny village, and years and years and years and years ago, like at least a century ago, Welsh miners moved down there because they were looking for miners. So it's like a little community in Patagonia, and they all speak Welsh.
I like
Must be
that.
really weird.
Brilliant. I wonder if their Welsh over time has changed from original Welsh
With a sort of
That does
Argentinian
tend to happen, doesn't it?
kind of
Like got a little
bit of
Argentinian flair to it.
Do you reckon they say poppity ping, which is microwave, isn't it, in Welsh?
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
I was going to have a crack at merging the Welsh and Argentinian accents to say poverty thing. No one's going to benefit from
No.
I'd like to have seen you try though.
We possibly would have been cancelled. So,
Which one do you think's better at football, the Argentinian Welsh village or the Welsh football team?
Probably still the Argentinian one.
Yes.
but yeah, I was going to say, because the beer was, I'm reading something, there's some good facts for it, but it was found, beer was named after the Quimeles, which is an indigenous people paying homage to their native culture.
We're loving some homage today, aren't we?
We love a homage.
Yeah.
Okay, so that actually is the name of a native people, Quilmes.
Interesting. Quilmes indigenous people.
Within the Buenos Aires region, it must be. Province. Great. Well, there you go. Learn some new things every day.
Highly cultured beer.
So apparently there's Argentinians consider this as like part of their cultural identity, this beer. Like it's so synonymous because it's been around for so long, and they've obviously been doing a lot of marketing throughout the ages. Apparently the word mark of Quilmes, how it's written, is very iconic within Argentina itself.
Okay.
So you'd recognize it like from the starting point. And I wonder how recognizable actually this white and blue combination is, because it's quite reminiscent of the Argentinian flag, isn't it? These colours.
Oh yeah, that kind of blue and white. It's just made me wonder, because we know this happened with, was it Tusker and the East African brewery? I'm just thinking, because I'm sure there is a Quilmes football team. I was just wondering if there was an East Africa breweries, the one came about from the other. Bear with me, and I'll come back to you. It's the same area. I've already seen that.
It is. You're absolutely right. It's Quilmes Atletico Club. And it's an Argentinian sports club based in Quilmes district of Greater Buenos Aires, established in 1887, so pretty much the same time as the brewery.
They had a football team and they went, you know what we need? something to drink at the matches.
And apparently it's in the top division of Argentine football, and they've won 3 titles, including 2 Primera Division championships and 1 Copa de Honor MCBA. So, very good. And their women's football team is competing within the 3rd division.
Nice.
So there you go.
I don't know that many Argentinian clubs for football. To be honest, that's a different podcast as well, isn't it?
Yes.
The next bit I was going to ask was, do you like it?
Is it wicked?
Do you really like it?
I'm loving it.
It's good. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, it's good. I think I'm actually enjoying it more the more I've consumed, I guess is where I'm basically getting to with it. It's gone down it's gone down well. It's a nice Pilsner. It's what I was expecting, let's put it that way. Of a nice, clean, refreshing Pilsner. It's not like clean, crisp. Like it's not crisp like you can get with the kind of the Japanese beers, but you can get a bit of a nice kind of palate with it.
I think that's what I was hoping for. And as a result, I think I had a preconception of this with a crispness to it that didn't quite arrive. So I was a little bit,
Were you thinking maybe like a Sari sort of idea?
Well, the other thing is, and we won't get into it just now, I have got, to be honest, there's no real link between the two. But there is another beer that I thought this would be like, which will be featuring again shortly in our swap shop. Which I absolutely adore, and I'm hoping that you're going to like it as well. I thought
you've been having a tipple in your swap shop beers because you should. That's very naughty, Matthew.
Well, so I had this. I actually had this one a couple of weeks ago, Quilmes. I'm not having it now because I'm having a little break. But with the other one, actually, I think I did get 2 of these, and I should say Charlie Mack bloody loves this one, and that was the other reason why I think the German style. Had come back with me because there's lots of like German style lagers that she quite likes, but the other one, so it's Cristal, the Portuguese beer,
right,
that we'll be doing soon.
Looking forward to that.
There you go, a little teaser for an upcoming episode. That I flippin' love, and I did get a couple of extras when I got that for you guys, and I snuck one a couple of weeks ago, and I went. And I you have that thing when it's like, oh, we're not in location, which may be what's making me or stopping me fall completely in love with Quilmes to the same extent. But I was like, this is even travelled well, Cristal. So that's going to come up soon.
I'm excited.
But under my head, between the two, I would go with that one. But there's nothing wrong with this beer. I suppose I just don't love it.
Yeah.
Well, if you need another reason to actually get it though and pick it up, Lionel Messi has endorsed this.
Oh,
beer,
of course,
so he has said it's worth you trying. So, if you're a Lionel Messi fan, none of those Ronaldo fans will be picking this up, but the Lionel Messi fans of the world will be quite into this beer.
I used to have Lionel Messi bed sheets when I worked in Spain. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, right, Barcelona. Yeah.
Were they Barcelona Football Club ones?
Yeah, they were Barcelona.
On a Saturday.
I got them custom printed, just his face.
Just took a photo.
What kind of gym jams did you have?
Oh, I sleep naked.
Nice.
That's not a sight anyone wants. That's not.
So basically,
that off the record.
so is that so that you could have you sleep naked?
No, don't go there.
You sleep naked,
don't go there.
and you have Lionel Messi bed sheets. Is that just because you wanted to really
be close to
Messi?
Close to Messi. That's going to be then your autobiography.
Close to Messi. That's a good name for a podcast.
Yeah, I like that. Close to Messi.
Good, excellent. Final thought on Quilmes?
Hey, if Messi likes it, I'm good with it.
Yes, Quilmes, bring yourself closer to Messi. That could be their new line.
They can have that tagline, can't they?
You're welcome.
That actually works on quite a few different levels, so that's good.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe,
Rich,
Barber,
and Simo.
Goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter.
I'll try that podcast.com.
And watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.